Welcome, my friends, to Macabre Menji Shrieks, and I bid you welcome back to our Halloween music countdown, Part 2, The Countening. This is a continuation of a series of videos where I drill some of my most favorite Halloween time music straight into your brain holes. If you've just wandered in from the darkness confused, go back and watch the first of these videos. My assistant Igor will gladly show you the way. Oh, Igor. Thank you, Igor. For the rest of you faint-hearted listeners, let's get back to business, shall we?
Graveyard Rock.
Everybody digs a graveyard rock.
Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman. These are all indelible monster movie stars that have left a blood-soaked impact in pop culture that, to this day, has never really given up the ghost. Despite most having been created prior to World War II, it wasn't until the post-war era that horror movies became a staple of popular culture, further fueling the public's thirst for the unknown. And wouldn't you know it, this time period is filled to the brim with songs about monsters, ghosts, and other horrible things that lurk in the darkness.
Graveyard Rock.
Everybody digs a graveyard rock.
I just love that grimy garage rock sound. The 50s, of course, catapulted us straight into the era of novelty songs. A moniker that Halloween music has been trying to shake ever since. But I'm the Wolfman by Round Robin from 1965 certainly doesn't feel like a novelty song.
In the middle of the night when the full moon rise, I got a funny kind of feeling coming in my eye. Well, my hair get long and my eyes turn blue. I got long hair growing on my fingers too.
It was even an A-side single. Children, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, ask your parents. Adults, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, read a book. This is even more intriguing when you consider that the singer, Round Robin himself, only really managed to maintain notoriety in his day by popularizing a dance craze known as the Slauson, a tribute to the Los Angeles neighborhood where he grew up, which he would unabashedly attempt to capitalize on for numerous singles thereafter. But I'm the Wolfman is not a dance, it's not a monster party, it isn't even attempting to make alliteration or cute sounds. The song is simply about Round Robin's deepest carnal desires.
I just ride around the holler neath the moon above. Tonight I'm coming after your sweet love.
An ode and maybe even a warning about the animal within himself.
I'm a wolfman, baby. If you see me on the ground, watch it when you hear me growl.
It's hard to deny that driving bass line and rockin' guitar riff. And what about that deep, guttural growling that complements Robin's soulful voice? It's horrifically believable.
Watch it when you hear me growl.
There's no way you can't dance along, or at least growl along, to this hard rockin' tune.
Graveyard Rock.
Everybody digs a graveyard rock.
Let's slow things down a bit, but not too slow, because I believe there's someone following right behind you.
You can hide down in the alley with your hat pulled over your eye.
From 1958, R&B legends The Coasters weave us a song about an entity known only as the Shadow. No, much better than that Shadow.
You can change your name and your address, even change your style of clothes, but the Shadow knows.
Let's face it, there's not much scarier in this world than the unknown. Judging by his maniacal laughter, it must be assumed that the Shadow is some otherworldly figure whose ability to lurk in the darkness allows him to trail his victims undetected, no matter what.
You thought you had me baffled. You thought I didn't know. But I know where you going, baby. Long before you go.
The Coasters were, of course, very influential for the doo-wop movement, and you can hear a lot of those seeds in this song with those dulcet harmonies coupled with a very disturbed sounding lead.
You better mind your P's and Q's and your M's and N's and O's because the Shadow knows.
The song itself isn't necessarily dark either, but has more of a trepidatious air to it. It sounds almost jolly, but with a sinister undertone.
The Shadow knows. The Shadow knows.
Thankfully for us, this tune is simply a work of fiction. It would be a very off-putting existence indeed if some unseen force were following us around all day, knowing where we go, what we eat, how we dress, listening to everything we say.
What do you mean?
Nothing, Master.
Guess what? I'm not sorry.
Everything is perfectly fine in the world, and with this song. So if you can find it, go grab it.
Graveyard Rock.
Everybody digs a graveyard rock.
Of course, we weren't going to get far in this era without running into at least one novelty song. Igor's Party by Tony and the Monstrosities from 1960 checks just about every box you'd want it to from this era. Spooky refrain. Check. Random movie monsters doing random things?
Up one side, down the other, Dracula was dancing with Frankenstein's mother.
Check again. Catchy chorus?
Igor, Igor, funny little man, standing there grinning with a shovel in your hand. Igor, Igor, what's your plan?
Going out tonight and dig a rock and roll band.
That's a check.
Dinner was served about 10:45. I had less waiter was a bringing it in. I got a funny feeling in the bottom of my tummy. For sitting on my right was a big fat mummy.
Boy, monsters sure liked to party in the 60s. Though, I guess so did everyone else. This song is in fact so novelty that there isn't even really much known about it or its creators. Tony is most likely Tony Wilde, an ex-police officer from Ohio with a brief singing career. Who the Monstrosities are, though, that's a bigger mystery. Here, Tony takes on the role of Igor, not to be confused with Igor. No, Igor, I wasn't calling you. Igor has, in typical novelty song tradition, received an invitation to join all the other movie monsters at a party in Frankenstein's castle.
Through my mailbox a letter dropped, an invitation to a rock and roll hop, sent to me by a friend of mine who lives in a castle with Frankenstein.
Is it just me, or does Igor sound an awful lot like Huckleberry Hound?
Igor, what's your plan?
Going out tonight and dig a rock and roll band.
Do any of you kids even know who that is?
Party was over, time to go. Igor turned the lights down low. They all had a ball, blowing the gaskets, but now it was time, back to the caskets.
It's honestly my favorite thing about the song. It's such an interesting choice to make. That oboe part also adds a very cartoony feel to the whole thing. If you need to remind yourself that Halloween can also be silly and fun, then go out and dig up this treasure, Daddy-O.
Going out tonight and dig a rock and roll band.
Igor, yeah, yeah. Igor.
Graveyard Rock.
Everybody digs a graveyard rock.
Ah, yes. Let's get a little loungy in here, you hip cats. The Vampire's Ghost from 1958 is a rockin' cautionary tale from Jimmy Bowers, another artist lost to time.
A strange man rose in a strange saloon. He looked like one long dead. He raised his glass so all could see, and this is what he said.
The singer narrates his woes of falling in love with a vampire. Or, I guess, with her ghost. That's certainly not part of any lore I've ever heard. At any rate, he allows his desires to make a fool of him as he attempts to win the love of the vampire with, of all things, a game of poker. Apparently, he was very confused about what people meant by stakes. Perhaps this is also why he believes that vampires have ghosts.
A vampire's evil power will fade when they're stopped by a poker. My poker game had stopped the view. Besides, I'd marked the joker.
As is a surprise to absolutely no one, she turns out to be a card shark, and despite his attempts to cheat against a friend of the devil, he loses his soul to her.
I knew that Satan was by her side. To kiss her was to die. I had to break that devil's spell. Her love was worth a try.
He doesn't seem too broken up about it, however, as, despite his folly, he seems to have a certain admiration for her.
Let's drink a toast to the vampire's ghost, the lady they once called May. A fiendish gal, the devil's pal, she won my soul away.
As I said, the song sounds very loungy and has an almost James Bond quality to it, both with the card game visuals and those sharp brass notes. The echoey woman singing in the background also adds an extra layer of spookiness.
Gal, the devil's pal, she won my soul away.
Let this be a lesson to you. Never wager on a game against the forces of evil, children, unless it's a fiddling competition. Then you might stand a chance.
She won my soul away. I was a fool.
Graveyard Rock.
Everybody digs a graveyard rock.
And now, let us end with an artist who needs far more recognition on Halloween than he gets. Screaming Lord Sutch was an Englishman with a very interesting and unfortunately tragic story. Jack the Ripper from 1963 is no doubt his most famous track, and though it is actually a cover, his became the most well-known version.
Well, that's a one big cat that just hate to fight. The Ripper, Jack the Ripper. Well, it walks down the street, every girl he meets says your name, blah.
Such's Ripper is not only the most danceable with that upbeat British rock rhythm, but at the same time, it is also the most terrifying with the accompanying screaming and Jack the Ripper's own unintelligible mumbling.
Your name, blah.
Such would further emphasize this at his live shows by dressing up in full Jack the Ripper garb and wandering through the audience like a lunatic, complete with props and stage decor. He is often credited as being one of the first shock rockers, long before the likes of Alice Cooper or Ozzy Osbourne.
So you pretty little girlie better watch your style. The Ripper, shut the Ripper, hey John!
Lord Sutch actually has a whole catalog of Halloween-appropriate music. He was a real innovator of fright. He ran his own production studio and even owned a pirate radio station at one time. If that wasn't enough, he even started his own political party under which he ran for Parliament numerous times, the official monster raving loony party. He never won a single election, but you gotta respect the man for trying.
Scotland Yard will never catch him, 'cause he's a much too clever. He's much too clever. But if they do, man, they'll get the leather, yeah.
Sadly, Such took his own life in 1999 after years of battling with manic depression. Despite such a tragic end, Such went on to inspire numerous artists to this day, and so, in his honor, I think it's most appropriate that you go out and grab this fun and catchy song about probably the world's most infamous serial killer and pay your respects to a man who lived to scare you to death. Here's to you, your lordship.
Well, he walks down the street, every girl he meets says your name, blah, blah. Jack the Ripper,
Thanks for watching. Links to all songs I've talked about can be found below. And if I've piqued your curiosity even a little, why not come down to Halloween Town on plug.dj, a social music site where you can hang out with other Halloween music enthusiasts, DJ music for each other, and maybe even make some cool new friends, all while listening to a whole lot more great Halloween time music. Halloween Town has been operating every October, all month long for over 5 years now. So come check it out, if you dare. Links in the description. That was just corny. I'm sorry.